We're going to have Uphold CEO Simon McLaughlin and CRO CMO Nancy Beaton join us. Simon is the CEO of the Web3 financial platform Uphold. He has over 15 years experience in fintech and institutional investment space and is deeply committed to fostering a robust compliance and regulatory infrastructure. Since he joined Uphold in 2017, he's held executive positions, including president and COO. Simon was a strategic advisor for Future Planet Capital and the founder of Institutional Investor, a daily institutional investing news platform. He also holds an MA in law from the University of Cambridge. Nancy Beaton is Chief Revenue Officer and President of the US for Uphold. She has been in the crypto space since 2018 and has launched 2 tokens, one of which received an SEC no action letter, and created an NFT marketplace for one of the largest metaverses. As CRO of Uphold, she's diversifying the Uphold revenue streams by launching new services, including for enterprises, institutions, and blockchain communities. Please welcome to the stage Simon McLaughlin and Nancy Beaton.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Hey, Will. Nice to see you again.
Well, welcome. Simon, I think I speak on behalf of all of us when we owe a debt of gratitude, and we'd like to say thank you for the courage you and your team demonstrated when the rest of the industry kind of shut down on XRP. So please. Really, we would not be having this event if it wasn't for some of the strong decisions that you and your group made. So we thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's hugely appreciated. We stood by the community and a project we believed in. And I guess I'd like to say a few words about why we did, because I keep getting asked the question. When the SEC launched this case, we went out to 3 separate law firms and we said, do you believe they are correct in law? And extraordinarily, and I've dealt with regulators all over the world, I've never had a situation where 3 different major law firms come back and say, actually, we believe they're wrong on the law. But the advice we got from law firms was actually, you should probably delist it anyway. And we did take a significant risk, but we took the view that we had like 1 million customers who held XRP, and we decided to stay with it. And what gave us additional confidence was one of the law firms employed a partner who was a former head of office to the SEC. And he was very clear that they're wrong on the law. So that's why we stuck with it. We're so pleased that we did. Yeah, thank you to the community for sticking with us as well. We're very proud to sponsor this event today, and fantastic to see the community and spend some time with you.
Well, it's definitely exciting. And as your relationship has grown with Ripple, can you talk a little bit about where you stand today and some of the things that are on the immediate horizon?
Sure. Well, you'll have seen last year we had an announcement that we're now a node in the Ripple ODL network. So Ripple use us to handle payouts for multinational companies moving treasury from one part of the world to another. We cover Europe, the UK, and the US. And it's been a very exciting business for us. It's exciting to see the utility use case of a major crypto in action. We can see the flows being used. We can see major fintechs and financial institutions using it day to day. And, you know, it's, for us, it's, you know, a fantastic piece of business. And, you know, we're big believers in blockchain technology. We're not really so interested in crypto as a speculative vehicle. And here's an example of how blockchain is being used to serve a major problem in traditional financial infrastructure. So, yeah, we're very excited to be part of it.
Good news. Tell a little bit about the recent announcement of the stablecoin.
Yeah, well, we're hugely excited about the stablecoin. I think it's good news for the XRP project. It's good news for XRP holders. Our view is that it's likely to increase transactionality on the network. It will encourage more people to build on the XRP ledger. We saw, I mean, an example would be, we saw in Cardano last year, they introduced a stablecoin on their ledger midway through the year. And it tripled development activity on Cardano within 6 months. And I heard that from one of the founders. So I think it's going to be a tremendous step forward, actually. And also, I'd imagine, you know, if you're going in and talking to a major bank to adopt XRP as a way of moving value. It's going to be so much easier to talk about a stable coin. You know, banks don't employ people who understand crypto, but for them to understand a stable coin, it's going to make it a much easier sell, I think, to get adoption.
Certainly, certainly. Nancy, curious what you've been doing for the community as you think about the products and services that you've been offering and the evolution of those.
Yeah, so I think most recently, I mean, we've been working with this community. I mean, I was here last year. It's so much bigger, so much better. Congratulations to Brad and all the teams for such an amazing turnout. I think since that time, you know, you've seen us do a couple things. One is, you know, on the, you know, just pure fun community side, we did one of the largest XPunks mints last fall, rewarding our community members with ranks, you know, lieutenant all the way up to general, minting NFTs, thanking them for their loyalty. And today, too, just for these fine folks that are attending, you can mint a Sin City NFT that we did with XPunks, and you can get it printed live on a t-shirt or hoodie in the back. So you can mint it. It'll be limited to the number of attendees here. So just constantly trying to work across the community. I think on the product side, one of the things that's most exciting for us recently is our launch of Vault. I know a lot of folks in this room have ledgers and cold storage devices, and you know, you store the mass component of your XRP or your holdings in that space. But for us, we see a lot of people coming onto our platform and using us for custodial purposes as well. And so what we wanted to deliver was the security of a self-custody wallet, which we all enjoy with our, you know, ledgers and other self-custodial wallets, with one-click access to Uphold. So, you know, your ability to take advantage of market movement when I'm in New York and my Nano is not in New York with me. So what you can do, we launched it first for XRPL and XRP. Solo Core are coming next. XLM will be after that, and then XDC. And so what you can do is right in your Uphold app, you can go down to the lower right-hand corner, activate your vault, and you can move all of your tokens or a portion of your tokens into the vault. It is a multi-sig wallet, so you hold 2 keys, we hold 1 key. We can never start a transaction without 2 keys, so you are in full control all the time. If for some reason Uphold were to cease to be operating, you still have full access to all of those tokens. If you lose a key, you can initiate a key replacement with our key. So you do not have the you know, concern of losing what you've written down on a piece of paper that you know, have put in your safe. So it's a really easy way for people to have security of self-custody, but also have one-click access to Uphold. And a lot of these other tokens, they're not well served with custodial options. And so the idea that we can let people not only, you know, buy, sell, trade, hold their tokens on Uphold, but they can put them in a secure place in a self-custodial wallet or assisted self-custodial wallet, I think is a nice option, especially for some of these smaller communities that may not have so many options.
Makes sense. Simon, what else do you have for the community, and what about super active members within the Uphold space?
So we're working on a bunch of stuff. So one of the most important things we want to do is introduce the ability for people to earn a yield on XRP held on Uphold. So you can expect an announcement next quarter. We're very excited about that.
You said next autumn?
Next quarter.
Next quarter.
Next quarter. We're working on it now, and we've got some very exciting news to come. And I've been asked several times this morning about the card. The card is coming back to the US. The debit card, we've now got a plan in place. We're busy building it at the moment, but you can expect the card to be back in the US towards the end of the year. I'm hoping for Q3, latest Q4, but virtual card, physical card, hook it up to any asset, spend it, super low FX rates. And I know a lot of people here were using it, and then unfortunately we had to withdraw it, but it's coming back.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
It's excellent news. Well, we have many linked to investors in the room, and many have invested in Uphold. What would you like to tell them and other people sitting in the crowd who may not have invested in you yet? Talk a little bit more about your future vision.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, we're positioning ourselves as a Web3 financial platform. So a lot of people don't understand what's unique about Uphold. First and foremost, it's our platform. We're not an exchange. We don't have a single order book. We sit on top of 30 separate order books, both centralized venues and decentralized venues, and we run what's called a high-frequency trading engine over the top. We look for the best prices, we look for the best quantities, so we're able to execute with optimal efficiency, offer people superior liquidity. You know, if there's an acute market event, people can sell, where on other exchanges, you know, you burn through the order book and there's no liquidity left. That infrastructure story is resonating very strongly with enterprise customers, with institutional customers. We've seen a big influx recently with institutions coming to us wanting to trade XRP and other digital assets we're very excited about. And we've launched a service called Topper. So anybody building on top of a blockchain can now plug into our infrastructure and access the aggregated liquidity I spoke about, our licensing and our bank rails. That business is just growing exponentially. And you know, it comes down to we're able to plug in very, very large self-custodial wallets, installed user bases, and it's a way of us scaling very quickly.
Nice.
I would say too, you know, we were just talking earlier today about the financial freedom that's really at the heart of blockchain and a lot of these cryptocurrencies. And, you know, when we look at the next generation of users, we were talking about some research that we saw that Gen Z, an equal amount of Gen Z hold stock as hold crypto, and an equal amount hold crypto that actually can own property. So the idea that we would be able to bring back the card, offer yield or passive income, all of these crypto neo-banking services, we know that that we all want, and even this next generation of user are gonna, you know, absolutely demand. And so a couple things, you know, the idea that we could bring a suite of services to be this crypto neo-bank, I think is really important. And then the idea that when we have these services, we could plug into other institutions, not unlike, you know, Ripple Payments, right? Making that historic financial system up and running for what it needs to be today. We can do the same. They can plug into our offering and our platform, and we can make a historically traditional financial institution be able to offer some of these crypto neobank services to users. So I think that'll be really big on the retail side as well.
That's fantastic. Nancy, what other trends are you seeing in the space?
Yeah, so I think we're seeing a few trends. One, I think we're seeing diversification of how people want to buy. So, you know, we all have Uphold, you know, we are a great place to come in, you know, make transactions, ideally earn yield, do all those things. But as Simon said, you know, there are a number of folks that want to just be able to buy and send it to their own wallets. So when we launched Topper, which is our fiat to crypto on-ramp, we're in multiple non-custodial wallets. We have topperpay.com. You can go and buy crypto straight from there. You know, it opened up a whole new space for us to serve people that maybe not traditionally on Uphold. And we can already see that less than 2% overlap between the two constituencies. So the idea that people want different ways to serve the needs and how they want to buy and interact with crypto, really important to us. Kind of leads into the same with, you know, we've seen a large retail contingent. We're now starting to see an institutional contingent, right? The ETFs are bringing institutional money in. We're seeing a lot of institutionals start to want to trade beyond the majors. So they do come to us for XRP expertise, for altcoin expertise. We have Dr. Martin Hiesbach, who is brilliant and writes institutional grade research on what are the next tokens. So I think, you know, this new cohort of buyers are coming in, and they're specifically, I think, coming to us for a lot of these beyond the major altcoins as well. So we're seeing that for sure.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Simon, would you like to add anything to that?
I think one thing I'd like to add is we've seen a lot of high net worth individuals, ultra high net worth individuals wanting to trade XRP and other altcoins. And obviously, the challenge with some of the lower liquidity altcoins is large trades move the price. And our infrastructure, one of the reasons they come to us is we're able to, because we're spread across 30 different venues, we're able to cut the orders up and cross a lot of the flow into our own retail book, which means that it relieves price pressure. So when people come to us and they want to sell or buy a large position of XRP, they're able to execute with very minimal impact on the price. And we're seeing a big increase in time-weighted average price orders, where they delegate authority to us to sell or buy over time.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And we started this discussion with not delisting XRP, but I think coming full circle as well, once the legal ruling came down, I would say, you all were clapping for Uphold for not delisting. I mean, we owe this community a round of applause as well, because the community stayed with us. After that ruling came down, we saw very little turnover, very little attrition, and that really speaks to the heart of trying to be in the community with the community. So I think we would just say as well, not only did we take risk and wanted to keep listing XRP, but once the ruling came down, you guys stuck with us, and I think that is of tremendous value and appreciation from us to you all as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Nancy, I'll start. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave the group?
Yeah. So I think as new money and new users come in to the space, right? I think we were just with Nick, buy XRP, license plate. I feel like as new users and new money comes into the space, the more that we can collectively make it easy for them to engage, the better. So, you'll see us do a lot of things. Baskets, we just launched baskets, right? If you want to get in the game and you love metaverse and games, or you love financial tokens, get into this basket. So I think you'll see us try to do a lot more to accommodate the new usage, the new users that we all want to come into the space and start, buying these tokens and participating in these projects. And so I think you'll see a lot more from us as we try to make it easier. Vault with, sort of assisted self-custody right next to the trading platform, baskets, bringing back the card, passive income. So I think you'll start to see us really grow, and I'm hoping that, collectively it allows us to bring in new users and really escalate that new usage.
That's nice. Yeah, the user interface is so beautiful. I think everybody loves it. So you guys are doing a magnificent job.
That's good to hear.
Thank you.
Good to hear.
Simon, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I'd just say what a fantastically exciting time for the industry. It's past the experimental phase now. Finally, some clear rules coming in place for many parts of the world. That's only going to accelerate adoption. We're seeing significant institutional interest now. For the first time, I've been at Uphold for 6 years. We now have financial institutions coming to us in the UK and Europe because they've got clear regs and they want to whitelist what we do. I mean, that is completely novel. And finally, we're starting to see regulators in some parts of the world employing people who understand blockchain technology. Yeah. And that's been the biggest problem. The regulators and government do not employ people or haven't employed people who understand the underlying technology and its potential. That is starting to change. And I genuinely think that, what's going on in the UK and Europe, they're having basically a competition to see who can be the most friendly home for crypto. Abu Dhabi, Singapore, Australia, all developing clear rules. Now we need to see that in the US. And I think it will come with an administration change.
By default, are those your growth markets at the moment? Is that your area of focus?
They're areas we're looking at very heavily, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's just manifestly clear that if you've got clear rules, you've got companies that want to adopt the underlying technology.
And maybe that's a follow-up question. How do you deal with the state of the U.S. regulatory system? And its best way you could put it is unfriendly, but how do you manage a business and a team in the face of that constant pressure?
I think it makes planning extremely hard. and it impedes innovation. So you're constantly de-risking decisions because you don't know what the outcome will be. In the UK and Europe now, we've got clear definitions on what a digital asset is. In UK law, an NFT can represent a financial obligation under law. In the US, it's still a gray area. I think the legal case that Ripple won on the substantive points last year was fabulously important because it establishes the fundamental principle that a digital asset in and of itself in a decentralized network is not a security. That's the guiding principle now that has given us a degree of clarity and confidence that we didn't have before that ruling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. I think that every time new technology comes around, I can remember it in so many phases of internet and wireless and now blockchain. It just outruns regulatory and the ability for legal to catch up. It just does. And so I think while we try to be as prudent as possible, we also still try to push the envelope in the most compliant regulatory manner we can. But there's so many gray areas, so you have to make the most prudent call you can, but you can't stop the progress, right? Because then when you stop the progress and wait for others to catch up, I think that's when you stifle all of the goodness that's coming from this. And so I think we keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing in the right way, making smart decisions, but you just can't stop.
No, constantly changing.
You got to constantly change it, right?
Well, we love what you're doing. I know this group here loves what you're doing. We thank you very much. We thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon McLaughlin and Nancy Beaton.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to take our break. So if we can get the house lights. Thank you, folks. We'll be right back.